All right. I believe that we are live. So I don't know if anybody's going to come to this or not. I just thought it'd be fun to go ahead and turn on the stream and see if anybody else wanted to interject themselves into a conversation about me trying to build a new computer here.
I get it.
Okay, so long story short, um, my computer is now 5 years old, and I think the motherboard is starting to fail. So given the fact that my computer is literally my livelihood, I kind of need to build a new one, and I decided to go ahead and start talking it through on stream. Snacks is also on the call, by the way. He knows a little bit more about this stuff than I do these days. I tend to get really into this stuff while I'm building, and then I completely drop off the face of the earth after I have what I need, and I don't really care. So basically, we're just gonna try to talk this through. Bro, the meta is just to buy used hardware. I don't want to buy a computer someone else jizzed on. No.
Who on earth said buy used stuff?
I
What? I
mean, I guess maybe if you're really trying to pinch pennies here, try and resell some of the parts from your old PC after. I probably could. Some of this stuff is, I mean, it's 5 years old, but like I have two M2 drives in here. I have a couple other SSDs. I probably could, but yeah, basically, I think my Mobo's starting to go bad. It's not a crippling problem yet, but I can't afford to let it get to a crippling problem before I address it. Okay, so anyway, yeah, because I remember the first PC build and some of that stuff you can definitely resell or reuse. I might even reuse a couple of things from it in the new build. I don't know. I'm kind of a big fan of just starting fresh and just going all out with this stuff. But okay, so anyway, so I'm on PC Part Picker, good website for this kind of stuff, by the way. I'm also on Logical Increments, which has traditionally been one of the best sites to help you when you're trying to figure out how to build a PC. So we're going to be using these things as kind of a guideline. And there's no point in getting brand new hardware for most stuff. I'm assuming the most intensive thing you do is probably video editing, which is CPU intensive. Well, not necessarily user error. There are PC games out right now that I can't really play on this PC. Like Doom the Dark Ages was driving my temperatures above 90, so I actually had to uninstall. Budget, I don't really have a budget, Gunner. Not to say I have unlimited money, but I need something very good and I need it now. Or not now, but I need it in the very near future. And it's kind of my livelihood, so I don't really sweat money stuff. Like whatever it needs to be, I can make it happen and then we'll figure it out down the line. But anyway, so CPU Snacks suggested I get a better CPU than what I was initially looking at. Let me take a look here. I think I had something like it might have been the R5 9600X, the AMD Ryzen 5 9600X. So if we wanted to go
yes.
better than that, there's the 9700X, the Ryzen 7 9700X. How do you feel about that offhand?
Well, this was the whole reason that I said all this. Was the for those in chat, the purpose behind doing this generally is future proofing as much as possible because Joker, of course, would not want to have to get a new computer, or rather be upgrading his parts every couple of years because every things are so much more expensive ever since crypto really took off. So my thought process was that while the CPU you'd originally proposed, the Ryzen 5, whichever,
Yeah, the
while
9600X, I
that's
think.
while that's plenty good for right now, it's far from being top of the line, and it's good enough, not really future proofing kind of thing. And there were other things like the Ryzen 7 7700X. It's only like 20 or 30 bucks more and is better right now. So if you wanted to get top of the line, yeah, you'd spend another hundred or so dollars. And I saw you just clicked on it. Ryzen 9 is a complete other thing entirely.
Yeah, let's see
But
here. Speeds 4.4 to 5.6 compared to 3.9,
the
5.4. Okay.
the speeds aren't necessarily the important thing that's going on here. Because bringing up what I was saying, because this is the one that I done research into, it's the one I was thinking of getting, the Ryzen 7 7700X.
Mhm.
Comparing that to the Ryzen 5 9600X, the 7700X is not very much faster. You know,
Wait,
the actual
7700X? I don't even see that listed on any of these builds. Okay. They must skip over it or
right.
something.
It's because it's a bit older. You know, the generation that you're in right now is 96 rather than 77. So, you know, that's fine. But in terms of speed, it's just a little bit faster than the Ryzen 5. But the important thing is, and this goes for regardless of generation, because that's what that big number is, the 7700 and 9600. That's generation. But Ryzen 5, 7, and 9, they have more more threads and more cores that they're using.
Hmm.
And what really helps there is that it's a lot like when you have your RAM and you have if all of your RAM is just on one single RAM stick in your Mobo, then that's not as good as if you'd had the same exact amount in terms of gigs of RAM spread across two, three, or even four sticks in your Mobo, because it enables the different pieces to be able to share different parts of the load, so that way it's creating more efficiency in terms of the task that you're asking it to perform.
Hmm.
And it's the same with the multi-threads, multi-cores with the CPUs. So even if you gotten something that was older than the 59600, which would be the 77700, even though it's older, it's objectively better now for just a couple extra more, because it has the advantage of more cores and more threading that it's using compared to the 5.
Hmm. Okay, so AMD Ryzen 9 9900. That does seem to be kind of like the upper limit here because the only one they have better than that is like a 3D one, I think, and I don't care about that.
Yeah, if you wanted to just go completely ham all out, then yeah, that'd be something to look at. But to answer user errors questions here, said a couple of questions. Just curious, what GPU are you running? Would you be able to answer?
Yeah.
But then the reason I bring it up is, what issues are you encountering that make you suspect motherboard? Well, as Joker described it to me, what he initially was describing is an issue with the input-output panel, where his microphone, for whatever reason, would just randomly shut off. Um, and
I had to restart my basically all audio input and output completely shut off the other day and I had to restart my computer so I could record videos. Like no speakers worked, no headphones worked, no microphones worked. Completely randomly it just decided no sound is coming in or out of this computer. I restarted, it was fine. I had a crash a few days ago where the computer just shut off. It said there was some kind of BIOS error. I didn't see what it was because it was so quick, but yeah, that Some of the USB ports I think don't work, but they haven't worked for a while, and that's kind of common with PCs. I feel like USB ports just go bad because USB ports kind of suck. But there's some concerning signs here. And when I built the computer that I'm currently on right now, I was hoping it was going to last 8 years, but I think with how much I use it, that's just not realistic.
Right. So as he was initially describing these things to me, initially I thought it was an input-output panel failure. And I know that there are some motherboards that enable you to remove the I/O panel and, switch it out like that. Joker's not using one of those, so effectively he'd need a new motherboard completely. But then when he had the crash the other day that was talking about a BIOS issue, that's what made me think the entire thing's starting to go bad.
So let's say we do the Ryzen 9 9900X for now.
Right.
That's definitely going to suit my needs, right? There's no way I'm going to need more than that for a long time.
Absolutely. If you run into any kind of problems using that, it's not going to be because it's not good enough. It's going to be because there was some kind of manufacturer error that caused the part to, you bought a lemon kind
Hmm.
of thing. That
And
is,
that
yeah,
happens. It
yes.
shit happens.
I remember one time I was upgrading my PC and I was getting a new CPU. If I remember correctly, it was an AMD, because I'm an AMD guy. FX, I want to say 8370. Let me check here. Yeah, it was. Good little chip. But anyway, the first time it showed up, the fucking guy that was um, delivering it, because it was UPS that was doing this, that's how far back this was, as Amazon didn't control all transportation yet. But the UPS guy, they just didn't give a shit, and they were not gentle with it. So by the time it got to me, pretty much all the pins were gone, had been destroyed in transit. So, you know,
Gunner, Snacks calls me Joker because that was my username on the forum that we met.
yeah,
I would
it's an
go
old nickname.
X3D chip if I were you. I mean, what does it do other than just be 3D? I don't care about 3D. I can't imagine any scenario where my life gets enriched because I have 3D effects coming off of my monitor, which probably don't even work with the monitors I have because I'm not planning to upgrade those.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like that would be extra cost for no discernible value that it's providing. But I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and do some checking. So you plug in your USBs directly into the MOBO or the panel on the case. You could always flash the BIOS, but hey, I'm always in support of buying expensive stuff.
I plugged them into the case, not directly into the MOBO. And I do know there are probably things I could do to help mitigate these problems, but the other issue is just that this PC is now 5 years old and it already cannot run some of the games that I want to play anyway. So even if I fix those issues, that's still a problem. Hell, a couple years ago, I nearly blew up my PC trying to play the Dead Space remake, and that was a couple years ago. Now, I just had to turn the settings down and it was fine. But the point I'm making is that this is not a beast anymore. Okay, so now they've got some coolers here. We got, I think these are CPU coolers. They got this one, which is called Arctic Liquid Freezer. Okay, that's water cooling. Then they got the Trinity 360, which is also water cooling. And then they've got the Light Loop 360, which is also water cooling. So if I take this site at face value, what it's telling me is for this CPU, I need water cooling, which you said is not necessarily true.
Yes. Water cooling is extremely effective, but that doesn't mean that it's the only thing that you can do. Air cooling with good airflow is still very good. For instance, we've been playing the exact same game before, and my temps have been better because I have better airflow in my case. And They have very large and very good fans. Now, just like it says in the thing that you're looking at right now, where it says "Be quiet, Dark Rock Pro 5,"
Yeah.
as you go more expensive, generally it's not to make the fan better and more capable at actually radiating heat. Um, the expense starts to come in where the concern is making it quieter, but you don't care about the noise, neither do I. So this is the kind of thing where if you were to buy a cooling fan, you don't need to drop several $100 on that kind of thing. But at the same time, because it's such an important fucking thing, you don't want to cheap out. You would just want to do your research to make sure you're picking up something good.
Yeah. And one consideration
Now,
is
uh,
that, real quick, the costs of this stuff is going to get defrayed because I have my birthday coming up and I have Christmas coming up. So
right.
some of this stuff is not going to be bought by me. A lot of it will
Right.
be, but not all of it will be. And a CPU cooler is kind of the perfect thing I could subsidize to somebody else.
Right. I love Sport 5. Don't worry, you're not annoying anybody. The entire point of us doing this right now is to just get other people's input. Different people have different viewpoints and perspectives. All opinions are accepted right now, unless it was the opinion of somebody from a rival sports team. But it,
Yeah,
anyway,
these
so,
are also large water cooling units. So let's
right.
see here. So let's go back to this one. They look kind of smaller, I guess. I don't know if that's really a problem, but like this is two fans. That's one fan. That's two fans. Is that something I care about?
Um, Sorry, as I'm watching the stream on live, the stream's not lagging or anything, but what you're saying is delayed
Hmm.
from
Right, right.
what I'm actually seeing on the stream. So
I guess the
let
CPU
me
is
see here.
small itself. Like it's just this. It's just a
Well,
little
one
square.
thing to consider with what you're looking at right now is it says for those who want a high performance compact AIO cooler at an affordable price, just like I Love Sport 5 here said. If I am correct, and I'll check real quick just to make sure that I'm right. But I think AIO is just a shorter way of saying that that's a water cooling, a liquid cooling system. So
AIO.
let me check. Yes, that AIO is how to differentiate between that and a fan. But like I said, I'm going to check real quick.
Hmm. Well, this one it says it comes with a refill bottle, so I assume that means therefore it.
Yes,
Yeah.
AIO stands for all-in-one. An all-in-one cooler is a pre-packaged liquid cooling system for a computer CPU that uses a liquid coolant to transfer heat away from the processor. Consists of a pump, a cold plate that mounts on the CPU, tubing, and a radiator with fans, all of which work together to transfer heat to the radiator where it is then dissipated by the fans. So, since it has the two fans right there, that's to make the effective dissipation of the heat faster because you're using more fans to bleed the heat from the radiator.
Okay.
So even if you were using liquid cooling, because it's not like you're just actively throwing water onto the parts. It's not how it works. But it works a lot like the radiator in a car. So because of that, regardless, you're always going to have to be concerned with airflow in the case. It's just somewhat less of a concern with the liquid cooling system, especially people do not care as much about fan placement if it's getting in the way of a nicer aesthetic looking as they get the conduit running everywhere.
Right. So let's see here. So let's
Hmm.
try. So this light loop one looks manageable. It is. It doesn't say it's AIO, but let's check on Amazon here. Yeah, all-in-one water cooling system. And you say you've never done water cooling before, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Noise level less than 35 decibels, so no issues there. The LED stuff doesn't really do much for me, but it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean there. That stuff is just superfluous. TNGX9FQ asks, why did we waive Kendrick?
I'll talk about that in a later video, but he had nothing to do on this team right now. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. 1 second. Everyone just hang out for a second here.
Well, as I'm still here while we wait for him, user error if you're still there. Um, well, that's true with everything. Nice. So what GPU are you getting? We'll get to that. Or, but yeah, what I would advise, because uh, neither of us have done liquid cooling before, we really don't have any frame of reference there. It's not rocket science. Plenty of people can figure it out. But what I would do is, of course, make backups of your data, uh, so that way, if you attach a drive to the system and then it gets fried from a leak, you haven't ruined anything. But this would be a case where I would get a warranty on this stuff. I don't know if you could get a warranty specifically for liquid damage due to user error when installing a liquid cooling system, but that's the only thing I'd be comfortable with doing with myself. And like I said, it's not because I think, this stuff isn't complicated. It's not rocket science. Plenty of people can figure it out. I just know I have bad luck. And especially if I get frustrated and impatient, I tend to overlook things. I'm reminded of what we were talking about with the GPU. Yeah. He says you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was. Let's see here. Why not get 9800 X3D? I was looking at it. It didn't look like it was. It didn't look like it was radically better for anything that I needed to do, and there was a significant increase in the price. Maybe I could be talked into it. I'm sure it is better. Otherwise, why would it not be? Why would it not be more expensive? But yeah, I'm just not sure if I need to go to that level yet. So let's see here. The motherboard recommendations: ASRock X870, MSI X870, and Gigabyte X870.
Well, when it comes to Mobos, um, more than any other part, this one tends to be purchased purely for aesthetic, because there's really not a whole hell of a lot that you can do. This is just literally, this is where you install the rest of your hardware. So as long as it has the appropriate ports for the hardware to be accepted, then what's the difference between one or the other? And as you look, when you clicked on the three, they're different colors, they have different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that I have an ROG motherboard,
Mm-hmm.
so every time I restart, it always pops up with the Republic of Gamers logo, which is lame as hell. And if I'd known that it was going to do that, then I certainly never would have bought it. But hey, I'm not sponsored by them, so I can say that.
Now, the only upgrade from that recommendation would be the 870 Plus. And the most
Mhm.
expensive motherboard they have is actually $320. So it doesn't really, you know what I mean? It doesn't like get too crazy. It's just kind of
Exactly. Yeah, because all Mobos, it's exactly like I said. They've only got the the one singular purpose. As they get more expensive, they may have like a crazier aesthetic design, like they just have different things that are just put on it. But largely, as it gets more expensive, it's just going to have more ports. Keeping in mind things like ports for multiple GPUs. Because I don't know if anybody's still doing the whole, yeah, I have two or three that I'm running at the same time for actually playing games. I know people do that a lot for mining crypto. Huge amount of 3D cache in them is great for gaming. Even 7800X 3D at $350 might be better than what you have currently specific for gaming. I think he's talking about CPUs. Yeah, I saw scroll up. He says, why not get 9800X 3D? That's what when I did a Google search myself, it seems that's what the 3D actually is. It seems strange that they put that in there. The 3D in the name, you'd assume that it would have something to do with 3D
Yeah.
displays, but no, it's just referring to an extra cache, which helps for the memory and running game processes.
Okay, so this is interesting. Only one of these motherboards has M.2 listed in the ports. The other two only have
Oh,
USB 3.2, and I definitely want M.2. My current has M.2.
well, yeah. I mean that'd be a slam dunk then. And yeah, that's one of the things I was saying is, not just the number of ports that are there, but then also the type of ports, just like you said. Some
Yeah.
motherboards might cheap out and they're using something like, they might have USB 2 ports. Because I mean, I know my Mobo, the entire fucking thing was USB 3 ports.
And
I
this
don't even
is
have it.
AMD. I know you have brand loyalty, and this is AMD.
Well, that's just because I like their stuff. Reason being is because back in the day, before I went for AMD, my very first computer that I put together, I got an Intel and I got a NVIDIA card. It was an EVGA NVIDIA card. And I really like that card, and I like EVGA's tech support and the various apps that they have that enable for custom performance. I really enjoyed that. But I hated my Intel CPU. It was always causing me problems. So I said, never again.
Okay, so the graphics cards I was looking at. Oh, and by the way, Wilson, I don't really have a budget because this is kind of my livelihood. I need a really good PC that works consistently and does everything that I need it to do. And without my PC, I can't make money. So whatever it needs to be is fine. And some of this stuff is going to be like presents for my birthday and Christmas. So it's
In
not like I'm paying
addition,
for it all.
right. In addition, you're not doing this all at once,
Hmm. Right.
you know? So it's like, hey, your budget might be like $700 right this week. So why not spend that on one part and get the absolute top of the line as opposed to getting a $700 budget shitbox?
Okay, so let's see. We have the RX 9070 XT. I could pay slightly more for the RTX 5070 Ti. It looks, I mean, I guess the benchmarks are slightly better. It has, wow, double the streaming processors. Um,
Yeah, when you're talking about a less than $100 cost for upgrading, in my view, considering what your goals are, I think would always be the correct answer. If it's less than $100 to go for the more expensive thing, then yeah. If you want the
eh,
9070 XT, Newegg has one for MSRP right now as we speak. Yes, there's a lot of sales that are going on right now
right.
throughout the week, and especially as the days go on Friday and then on upcoming Monday. So
Yeah, and if I want to upgrade beyond the 5070, the prices get insane, like $1,200, $2,500. So I don't think that's happening.
yeah, I mean, you may not be mining Bitcoin, but there's a world of opportunity in mining Dogecoin.
All right.
Actually, I have a Dogecoin story. Another Discord server that I'm in, it's the one where I get my my emojis that I use all the time, like the thumbs up
Yeah.
and the meat shot face from
Hmm.
Carnage. Meat shot Johnson, we love him. But anyway, there was a guy in there. He was like the server village idiot kind of thing. You know, we treated him the same way that we used to treat Origin in our Discord. But the thing is about this guy is he actually called it on Dogecoin. He was like, "Guys, you should totally invest in Dogecoin." And this is just because he was falling for the meme and he thought it was funny. And he's all like, "Buy a couple of dollars of Dogecoin." So he bought when it was like a nickel in
Hmm.
value. He bought a couple of bucks worth, and he made he made stupid money when Elon started talking about it. And then suddenly the price spiked.
Hmm.
He blew it all on a McLaren. My God.
Okay, so according to logical increments, RAM is not very expensive right now, but I'm pretty sure in reality it is. So let's see here. G
Well,
skill.
because see, yeah, this thing that you're looking at right here, G Skill Ripjaws S5, 64 gigabytes, 2 by 32. The reason that that's listed as $313 is because you're buying two sticks, and each individual is 32 gigabytes. Now, me right now, the RAM I'm using, and that's another thing, is that's obviously DDR5. The RAM I'm using right now is two sticks of DDR4, which was top of the line when I went to get it. And it's two sticks, where each is 8 for a total of 16. And that was like a
Yeah.
hundred some bucks when I went to get it. And that's the thing is, just like I Love Sports said, DDR5 prices are through the roof right now. And because you're buying sticks where it's so highly concentrated, the amount of gigs of RAM in a single module. So this is what I was saying, if you remember the last time we were talking about this, where RAM is RAM is RAM is RAM, and nothing that you're looking at playing right just now is going to be taxing enough to where there's a world of difference between you having 16 gigs of DDR4 like I do compared to 64 gigs of DDR5.
Well,
You know,
here's the
nothing that you're
thing.
looking.
Does the motherboard even take DDR4? Because it says DDR5 right
It
here.
ought to. It ought to. The reason it says DDR5, I believe, is because it's saying that it's DDR5 compatible. If it doesn't take DDR4 at all, that's insane. But you could always, of course, check.
All right, let's see here. Okay, why is my stupid ad blocker blocking whatever? Okay, let's back up a little bit. Let's check
I'm not
this.
sure.
Okay, so
But
let's go to
sh-
Amazon real
surely you
quick.
can see my point and where I'm going with that, which is that, you can upgrade down the line once these prices have gone down, and it's not that big of a deal to spend $100 now on something cheap compared to $300 now on something that'll be way less than that in
Oh,
like a year.
just my current computer has RAM in it. Is there a way for me to check and see what RAM I have in my
Yes.
PC right now?
Yes. You, of course, you remember the heat monitor program that I got you
Yeah.
to download. They also have one that just checks your specs. It's CPU Z. You
Okay.
might have CPU ID, CPU Z.
Okay. Let me install this real quick, I guess.
Yeah, one of the tabs, once you open it, one of the tabs should say memory, and it should just tell you. But I'll check.
If you get an AM5 motherboard, you will need DDR5 RAM. Well, okay, let me check and see what I have in my current PC just for fun here.
Yeah,
Where did
and
I
of
put it?
course, that's another thing is you might just be able to move over what you've already got. Caleb Kovar Rubius 8505 says, "Hey, Brendan."
Hello. What is going on? Okay. So memory, DDR4 32 gigs.
Yeah, that's twice as much as what I got, and DDR4. So I Love Sport said, if you get an AM5 motherboard, you will need DDR5.
Let me check here and see if it says on the Amazon page.
I'll try reading too here.
It does say compatible.
Oh, good grief.
So,
Sorry. Doing my own search here. What was the name of the motherboard again?
it is the Gigabyte X870E Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7.
It's the exact same motherboard I was looking at. How about that? Is it an AM5?
Yes, AMD AM5 LGA 1718 motherboard.
Yeah.
It says DDR5 compatible. Does not say if it's compatible with other kinds of RAM.
No, it's not DDR4 compatible. It exclusively supports DDR5 memory. Features 4 DDR5 DIMM slots and is designed for AMD Ryzen 7, 8, and 9000 series processors. And that's why it's DDR5 only. It's because the only CPUs that they allow would be Ryzen 7, 8, and 9, and all of those require DDR5 to work, which is why I have a Ryzen 5. That's right. That's right. Because Ryzen 5 accepts DDR4, and I didn't want to spend $400 to get 16 gigabytes of RAM when I could have gotten 16 gigabytes of RAM for $100.
Oh my God, check this out. Kingston Fury, 16 gigs total, almost $250 right now. That's pretty fucking gross.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but
wait
it's
a minute. Here we go.
like
Kingston Fury, 16 gigs for $100. It's probably not very good DDR5, but it might suffice until I can find something a little more reasonable.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we're looking at right now. However, keep that number in mind. DDR5 4800. I'm going
Yeah.
to take a look in CPU-Z so I can see where to take a look at here.
Yeah, I definitely
So
want to go DDR5 Mega Triumph, but the thing is, the prices are insane at the moment. So I'm trying to kind of like just get enough RAM to survive on until these prices go down a little bit, because this is like the one thing that's going to completely blow out my budget if I had one,
right.
which,
What I'd like you to do for me right now is in CPU-Z, go to memory again, and
all
then
right.
tell me the number you see. It should be the same, but I don't know if it would be or not. Tell me the number you see for NB frequency and DRAM frequency.
Okay, hold on. In memory, what was the first thing you wanted to know?
NB frequency and then DRAM frequency.
DRAM frequency is blank, and I don't see the other category at all. Oh, that's also blank. I see it now.
Okay. Then that's fine.
eBay DDR5. I don't want to get someone's used shit though. It's gross.
Yeah. I mean, something to keep in mind here, guys, is when we say new, we mean new.
Hmm.
Um, Getting something used is okay if it's something like a car. It's understandable. But there are some things you don't buy used, like computer parts or a girlfriend.
Hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so let's just say we're going bare bones on RAM for the moment until things get a little bit more reasonable. So let's look at storage now. So what I did with this current PC was I have two M.2s and then I have two normal SSDs in there. That's what I did.
What I will say really quick is just to give an answer for what that number was. because I had a suspicion. I just wanted to double check. Excuse me. And that's also why I wanted to see if you could read me that number. Because that number, your frequency, is supposed to be the memory transfer rate, which is measured in megahertz. So when you were looking at that one that is much cheaper, that was the DDR5 4800, that'd be 4.8 gigahertz of the memory transfer rate, which is very good. But compare that then to the more expensive ones. It was DDR5 6000, so that would be 6 gigahertz, which is obviously substantially much better. But keeping in mind, we play largely the same games, um, and have on the same tier, I would say, quality in PC. My memory transfer rate for the cards I'm using right now is DDR4 1200.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
then we got 30 terabyte hard drives now. That's nuts. There's much larger
Yeah.
larger drives than that.
Okay, so it seems like the best bang for your buck is to get two GB, 2 terabyte M.2 SSDs, and that'll cost less than $300. What I have in
Well then,
here are also M.2s, but I think they're only 1 terabyte each. Oh no, they are actually 2 terabyte each. That almost makes me wonder if I could take the hard drives out of this and put it into the new one.
you absolutely can. I've been using the same hard drive that I've been transferring. Now this, and by the way, it explains a lot for why it takes my computer so long to reboot. This is my boot drive, which, I'm just way too lazy and never thinking about it when I have the opportunity to do it, to switch out my boot drive for something which is much faster. But my boot drive is the same hard drive that I've been using since Windows XP.
Okay, so let me see if I can use the device manager to see exactly what I have in there.
Yeah, as long as the things are compatible, you know, which again is why you want to be taking a very careful look at the motherboard you buy,
Okay.
because you can't buy a M2 extension for a motherboard. That doesn't really work.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what my current hard drives even are. Obviously, they're almost 5 years old now, or maybe even 5 years old, so compatibility is a concern. ADATA SX 8200 PNP. Hmm. Oh, and I know somebody asked a while ago and I never answered it. So my current GPU is a 3070. And at the time I got it, it was great. Now it's less great. I still can get a lot out of it, but my PC was about to blow up when I was playing Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah. And you bring up an excellent reason for why it's a good idea to upgrade. Is as new games come out, we know that the reason that they're poorly optimized is because um, game studios no longer use their own in-house engines. Everyone uses Unreal 5 for everything because they outsource the majority of their actual coding and programming because they don't want to be doing that themselves, and it's cheaper to outsource, and every other reason under the sun. So if you're going to be doing that kind of thing, rather than have a subsidiary that's always working for you, which would be more expensive, you just contract the job out to the lowest bidder, which means that, you need to come up with some kind of an industry standard if you're going to be having different employees doing all these different things. So
Okay, are traditional SSDs dead? Because every SSD I see here is just the M.2.
what that results in is very shoddy craftsmanship and very poorly optimized games. So could you say it again? Because I don't know why, but your voice suddenly sped up to like 10 times speed.
Oh, okay. That was kind of happening for me with you as well, but are
Oh.
traditional SSDs dead? Because all I see on logical increments are M.2s. I don't see any standard SSDs. Is that just like dead?
They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. What you should be looking for instead is manufacturer, because everybody makes standard SSDs, but you're probably looking, especially on the website that you're looking at, everybody's obsessed with the M2s because that's the best that's out there. So you got to be thinking specifically. Okay, so like,
Well, what I like to do is have M.2s for my OS and a lot of the games, but then I like to have the standard SSDs just for like storage of stuff that is just kind of like, it's like the closet. It's like where you put stuff that might be there for a while, and
right,
it doesn't need to be the fastest thing in the world.
right.
It just needs to be like a normal SSD, and I'm not seeing that. Everybody's all about M.2s right now, it looks like. And honestly, like, they're not even expensive anymore, the M.2s.
Right.
They're really not. Let me see. How many M.2
Yeah.
ports
So
does this motherboard have? Let me check that.
like a manufacturer for storage drives that I like is Seagate because I like the colors. Um, they also do M2s, of course, but they do standard, regular,
Ooh.
plain old SSDs.
It
They
looks
do everything.
okay. Hold up, hold up. According to this Mobo has 4 M.2 slots, so I could just get 4, or I could get 2 and then see if the 2 that I have will work as like backup hard drives. That way I don't even have to buy the standard SSDs. That might be the play for now, at least.
Eh,
Had to leave for a second. I don't know if you're still looking at CPU coolers, but you should check out the Noctua NHU12A. Yeah, I think this Be Quiet Light Loop Liquid one is probably going to be fine, but I'm not married to any of this stuff yet. So let's say we're good on storage. Let's go super cheap on RAM for now until the prices come down. Okay, let's take a look at the case here. Cases are fun. I like cases. Let me reset the page here real quick. Case. Yeah, user, but I could get a huge hard drive for like external. Like I have one right here actually. It's an external hard drive. I don't even need to put that in the PC. The reason I suggest air coolers is because yeah, I might prefer an air cooler. I'm definitely going to consider that. Let's see here. Okay. No. This isn't what I wanted. Okay, the case. Okay, they've got the Meshify Fractal. And this is mostly just about like aesthetics, right? And everything can fit in there.
Hold on, let me close some tabs. I got a lot of tabs open for this.
What RAID configuration do you plan on using? I'm not sure actually. I'd have to Probably get to that point and then figure it out from there. I'm not sure off the top of my head, though. Ooh, how long is my GPU? I don't know. Yeah, I got pretty much the nicest motherboard that they had on logical increments, so I think I'm good there. And I really want this page to tell me how long the GPU is, but it doesn't look like.
Oh, you mean the dimensions?
Yeah,
Give me the name of it.
it's the 5070 Ti. APNX V2 is 160 on Amazon. What is that? Is that a case? Okay. That is a good price.
There we go. The maximum length is 303 millimeters, which would be
Oh, okay. That's easily going to
30
be
point,
contained by this. Okay, that's easy.
yeah, 30.3 centimeters.
Let me check this one, though.
It's about a foot.
It should be fine, I think.
Yeah, that's just under a foot.
Mhm. Let's go with that one for the moment here. Okay, power supply. Power supply. So none of these power supplies are ultra expensive, so I'm tempted to just go all out here because it doesn't change the price radically and it's pretty important.
Yes, it is important, but one thing you want to be paying attention to is that one of the things that affects price is how many cables it comes with. So you don't want to get something that, has got cables all over the damn place.
Okay, well, let's
He said, dude, keep your old power supply. It's probably fine. Now, he's right in the sense that I'm using the same power supply that I got back in like 2009 because it was a 750 watt in 2009 and it is still doing fine. Knock on wood, of course, here now in 2025. But um, that's what you'd have to ask yourself is if your current power supply actually has the wattage to be able to support the new system you're planning on building, because that's a significant power increase for a lot of
mhm.
things.
Yeah, and I don't want to just barely have it covered, especially because power supplies are cheap. Like, this is not the part of the
Yeah,
PC that I
um,
care about saving money on.
yeah, it's a bad idea to try to do like right on the edge. That's not a
Hmm.
good idea.
These are all too much. I think that's the idea. Okay, that's the power supply. I don't need a new monitor. Obviously, I need an operating system, and it's fucking Windows 11 Home has never been anything but fine for me. So okay, let's just throw that in there. Now I am going to need Okay, does the Mobo has the Ethernet port on it, right? Or am I not remembering that correctly?
It normally would, depending on configuration and everything, but yeah,
Let me make sure.
because that'd be
Yeah.
part. That would be part of the I/O panel, which is almost
Yeah,
always
okay.
on the motherboard.
And I don't need a Wi-Fi adapter because I have this, because I don't connect the internet with Wi-Fi. Okay. So let's see here. I am probably going to get a new keyboard and mouse, but I don't have to. I don't need new speakers. I don't need new webcams. I have some thermal compound from 5 years ago, but I think it's cheap as shit, so I might get new ones anyway.
Yeah, they almost never put enough on when they send you a thing.
Okay, so I think we're covered for now. Like I said, I definitely need way more RAM than this, but this will be okay because it's actually reasonably priced. And according to this, everything's compatible. According to this website, everything is compatible. So I think we're okay on that front. Okay, so yeah, 9900. Let me check the CPU one more time here real quick. So if I wanted to get the 3D thing, it's not that much more. It's like $60-$70 more. But then let's see, you have the 9950X, which is a lot more, but it is significant, but it is noticeably more powerful. Can you take a look at the APNX V2 case on Amazon? Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, I do see it. That doesn't look very big, though. Like, that's the one thing that would jump out to me. It's not a very big case. Like, this case I have down here is an absolute monstrosity. I think I probably need something comparable with that. Like, this looks a little maybe too small. Okay, so yeah, and then we have... Okay, just let's get rid of the CPU cooler, and let me try the Air one here real quick. Let me see here. So let's get rid of that real quick. Okay. It's actually slightly more expensive than the water cooler, but again, it's not enough to where I care. It is more quiet too, though. Hmm. What is your power supply? It probably will work fine, you are correct. But power supplies are cheap, so I'm not really sweating that. Like, I don't... I'm probably going to get the power supply as a present for my birthday or something. Like, it's cool.
Woohoo!
Let's see here. So, and then I can try to put my current M.2s in the new computer, and if that doesn't work down the line, I can get another pair of M.2s to put in there. Okay, and then we got the minimal RAM right now. We got the motherboard, which seems like it's really good. We got the graphics card, which is going to be really hard to get, but but I should be able to find it. And we got the big old case. We got the power supply. All right. I think we've got something pretty good here. But just for the sake of variety, let me take a look at the slightly better CPUs. Like this one's $700 for a CPU. That's actually getting to the point where it's like you're pushing it at that point. Yeah, I just don't know if I'm gonna get more out of the 9950X 3D to where it justifies me spending what, double? Have you checked the spec and benchmark differences between the CPUs you're looking at? Well, I don't know them by heart, but I am roughly aware of what is better about a more powerful CPU versus the one that I have. But like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like I just don't think I would get the miles out of it. I think this is good enough for future proofing. And realistically, I'm kind of at a point in my life where I am probably going to end up building a new PC every 5 years because I use it so much and because I use it for my work. So therefore, it's one of those things where it's also like I don't want to think that I'm building something that'll last 10 years when that's just not realistic. I was hoping this PC would last 8 years. It looks like it's going to last about 5. And like I think that's probably the reasonable expectation given how much I use it. The Fury Beast 16 gigabyte RAM you got there as a 5600 version for the same price. Okay. Let me take a look here. Okay. 5600. Oh, okay. I think this must be it here. Yeah, it's 5600, same thing, same price. Good catch. All right, that should be good enough until when prices come down a little bit, I will like go crazy with RAM. I will get the best RAM. But right now I just need something that'll work. Okay, I think we're done here. I think we are done here. We've streamed for about what coming up on an hour here. I think we're good. So thank you everybody for the assistance. I just wanted to get some alternate takes on it because I've been talking with a couple people about this, but wanted to see what other people had to say. All right. So thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you, Snacks, for the help.
Woo.
And I will be seeing you guys later. So I'm going to start actually putting this together. It's going to be a couple months probably until I can get all this stuff. At least a month, I know that. But this is what I am currently looking at.
Solid.